You hit play on a Tokyo stream, and it stutters. That 2-second stall. On paper, it's trivial. But in your gut? In a live match, a critical job interview, a call with family. It breaks trust. If it happens twice, you're already looking for another provider. So, what really happens in the 9,000 kilometers of glass between you and Tokyo? How many things have to go right, and which one can make it all go wrong? Let's open the case file. Let's talk numbers. The only numbers that matter. You've got 9,000 kilometers of glass between Tokyo and the US West Coast. Light in fiber isn't instant. It takes about 5 milliseconds for every 1,000 kilometers. Best case? A 44 millisecond one-way trip. But in reality, your round trip is closer to 100 or 150 milliseconds. Why? Because your data isn't on a private jet. It's on a commercial flight with layovers. Your bits pass through 8 to 15 different network owners. We call them autonomous systems, each with its own rules. And forget satellites. Over 95% of all international traffic rides on subsea cables. So how does a single frame of your video even survive this journey? Let's trace its path, step by step. Step 1. The origin. Your video is encoded in Tokyo and sent to the platform's master data center. Think of this as the main kitchen, where the original recipe is stored. Step 2. The CDN edge. A content delivery network is a global chain of pantries, or caches, that keeps copies of popular files close to you. When you get a cache hit, your video is served from a pantry down the street. Awesome. But when you get a miss, your request has to travel all the way back to the main kitchen in Tokyo. Big platforms have a 70% to 95% hit rate. That miss is where you feel the lag. Step 3. Interconnection. So, how do these 15 different networks talk to each other? They meet at Internet Exchange Points, or IXPs. Imagine a massive marketplace where networks come to trade traffic. The biggest IXPs are now pushing 30 terabits per second at peak. Step 4. The long haul. Your data now hits the open ocean, traveling through one of the 500 active submarine cables crisscrossing the globe. We're talking 1.4 million kilometers of cable. A single modern cable can carry 400 terabits per second. Step 5. Routing. But who's the traffic cop in all this chaos? A protocol called BGP, the Border Gateway Protocol. And here's the crazy part. BGP is like a postal service that doesn't know about speed limits. It only knows about reachability, which paths can eventually get to the destination. It has no idea which path is fastest. It's stitching together a path from over 75,000 different networks, and it's basically working on trust. Step 6. The last mile. Finally, the signal travels from your local ISP to your home. Fiber cable 5G. This is often the narrowest part of the entire pipe. It's where the physics of the internet meets the chaos of your neighbor downloading a 100 gigabyte game. Sounds robust, right? But this entire dance is governed by brutal constraints. First, physics. That 5 milliseconds per 1,000 kilometers is a hard limit. You can't beat the speed of light. That 100 millisecond delay from Tokyo is the best you can hope for. Next, economics. Moving bits costs money. Networks are constantly making deals. Some are public, but many are quiet, backroom handshakes that decide exactly whose traffic gets priority and where. The ocean might be open, but the beach where the cable lands is expensive, private property. And finally, regulation. Every single one of those 500 cables needs national security approvals to land on a country's shore. A political delay can reroute global traffic for years. This isn't theory. This is evidence. Cable cuts happen all the time from anchors, earthquakes, and fishing gear. Repairs take weeks. Your traffic gets rerouted, instantly adding 20 to 200 milliseconds of delay. Route hijacks happen, where someone maliciously announces a bad path and suddenly your data is flowing through a black hole. And the CDN? If its hit rate drops from 90% to 70%, the demand on those transoceanic cables can triple. Same audience, 3 times the ocean. Congestion is almost guaranteed. So, where does it actually break? First, the choke points. A single overloaded port at one of those IXB marketplaces. It starts dropping a tiny fraction of packets, not enough to show up on a speed test, but enough to make your video stutter. Second, the cables. Everyone says they have diverse routes. But a crisis near Taiwan or the Red Sea reveals many of those diverse cables all land in the exact same building. So much for diversity. Third, BGP's trust. A simple typo by a network engineer can accidentally redirect a massive chunk of the internet, causing a global outage. And fourth, your house. The problem of buffer bloat. Your home router tries to be helpful by queuing up too much data. The moment someone on your Wi-Fi uploads a photo, that queue bloats, and your latency jumps from 20 milliseconds to over 200. Your stream freezes solid. But why does it work most of the time? Redundancy. Multiple cables, multiple network partners, and smart video players that can instantly drop the quality from 4K to 1080p to keep the stream alive. The system is designed to bend, not break. The leverage point, the one thing that truly changes the game, is simple: put the bits closer to the people and secure the handoffs. Better caching, true path diversity, and locking down BGP routes with cryptographic signatures. That's the difference between a slight quality drop and a visible stall. Let's run a resilience drill. 1912 local time, an anchor severs a Pacific cable. Alarms go off. 1914, BGP shifts traffic to a longer path. Latency to the west coast jumps from 115 milliseconds to 190 milliseconds. Your stream automatically drops to a lower quality. 1920, 2 internet exchanges get congested. You see a 0.2% packet loss. It's invisible on a spreadsheet. It's a stutter on millions of screens. 1930, the networks with modern, secure routing and pre-negotiated connections shift cleanly. Their users barely notice. The others? Their support lines are blowing up. You can actually see this for yourself. Run a traceroute to a server in Tokyo and count the hops. Do it again when your network is busy and watch where the latency jumps. Use a speed test that shows latency under load. If that number is huge, you've got buffer bloat. But the real fix isn't just in your house. It's a systemic choice. ISPs need to peer openly. Platforms need to push their caches deeper into networks. Policymakers need to streamline permits for new, diverse cable routes. The takeaway is physical. The internet feels like a cloud, but it's not. It's glass, steel, power, and contracts. You get a perfect stream from Tokyo to your kitchen table because someone made the right physical choice to put the content near you, to secure the handoffs, and to diversify the paths under the ocean. Verdict: like an audit ledger. The Internet's biggest vulnerabilities are single points of failure, overloaded ports, fragile cables, and a routing system built on trust. Its greatest strength: layers of redundancy, market pressure for efficiency, and adaptive technology that gracefully degrades before it fails. So here's the real test. At home, run a speed test while uploading a big file. Watch your latency explode. That's buffer bloat. For the pros, a chaos drill: intentionally reroute your traffic down a backup path and measure the impact on your users. If they don't notice, you've built a resilient system. Now, here's my question for you, and I want you to answer in the comments. In your world, your job, your company, your project, what is the one single connection, the one person, the one system you're betting on to be perfect every single night? What's your single point of failure? And if you found this audit useful, you're going to want to see our next one. We're stress testing the Internet's address book, the DNS, to see how one slow lookup can turn your screen completely blank right before dinner. Hit subscribe and ring that bell so you don't miss the next case file.